Hey, it's SpawnCamp here. Just looking at an older project I have. This is an excavator, and it's ran with physics. What we're going to try to recreate today is this hydraulic arm that I managed to create. And it's been quite a while, so we're going to see if we can't figure out how I did it. See if I can't recreate it. One thing you should know is I used an actual image of an excavator to get these dimensions right. I just slapped it into Blender and copied it because I figured if the engineers had it figured out, it would be quite easy to apply physics to it without it just breaking. We're just gonna rip some parts off of this and use that to recreate what we have here. I think I'm gonna do this one right here. If we hit play, we can kind of see what's going on. Alright, let's get to it. I have the model right here. What I could do is, let's just start from scratch. Why not? So save this, and we're going to go to assets, so we're going to go to scenes, and we're going to say create new scene. I don't know why it's not alphabetical. We're going to say excavator new, because I'm creative like that. Take the excavator and drop him in here. See, his scale's 111. Yeah, we probably shouldn't mess with that. Alright. So let's drop some materials on here so you see what's happening. And let's set our camera to be right here so we can kind of see. Alright. So the first thing we're going to want is some physics. So let's break this guy apart. And we're going to put a collider on this guy. And this guy as well. And this guy as well. Now we're going to add rigid body. And we get play and watch it explode probably. No, it works like it needs to. I don't know how. Oh, yeah, we gotta make these convex. Now it'll explode probably. Well, sorta. So the first thing I'm gonna do is make a cube down here. Like this. And we're going to move the excavator arm upwards. Put it right on top of that cube. And on this guy here, we're going to add a hinge joint. These guys are always so hard to see. But we're going to make, let's see, make the axis on the Let's see, where's my model? Okay, make the axis on the Y. Yep. And then we're gonna bring it down. It'd be the Z. And let's say 0.1, 0.01, 0.001, 0.003, 4, 5, 6, 7. Say negative. Let's say negative 0.009. Oh, negative 1. Yeah, kinda. We go a little higher. And I think that's about right on the Z. On the X though, you go negative 0.001, 0.002, 0.025, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0.003, 0.004. That looks good. And then, let's see, this guy needs a rigid body. So we'll say rigid body, but he's going to be kinematic because he's not going to move. And he also needs, oh, he's already got a box collider. Good. So he's already got a box collider. So we can go back into our excavator. And this guy here, we'll call this our base arm. And let's put on our hinge joint, we're going to drag in the cube that we just made as the rigid body that's connected. And we'll hit play and see what happens. Yeah, I like that so far. Let's add one to this guy up here too. So we're going to add another hinge joint. We're going to do the, let's see, let's just copy this guy here. Copy component. We'll paste component. So at least we have the direction and everything set up correctly. But for this rigid body, we want to drag in this guy here. But we'll set the anchor up first. Let's just go back to here. And we can just, we're going to go positive on the X. And we're going to go positive on the Z. And then we'll move it. Where'd that go? Alright. Say 0.05, 0.002. That looks promising. Now we can move it upwards. So on our Z we can go 2. There we go. That looks about where I need it to be. Also, let's zero this guy out so he's in the middle, because I liked it better that way. And the same with this one. Put it in the 0. And for the one that we just made, now we can drag in, we're going to call this the forearm. So we'll go to our base arm, and then on the hinge joint of that one, we'll drag in the forearm. And I'm also going to get rid of this guy, because I don't want to make this any more complicated. So now if we hit play, alright, we got the start of an excavator. Now let's just start with our hydraulics. Say we're going to start with this one. I guess we'll make 2 hydraulics so we can make it stand up. Let's import Pro Builder. I think we're gonna need it. Let's go to Uni Registry, Pro Builder. Let's just install this guy here. Alright. So let's go to Windows, or Tools rather. We'll get the Pro Builder window. We'll drag him over here. And we're going to just say, let's use the middle mouse button and click here. We'll say new shape. It'll give us a cube. And we will scale this. Let's see, the Z is the forward. So let's maybe scale it this way. This is going to be our hydraulic. So like that. Let's twist this guy around over here. Make sure he's centered. Or rotate him up. And the 2 pivot points were right here and right here, I think. So let's rotate him a little more. Bring him in. Bring this up. And then we'll rotate it so we can kind of get that lined up. Alright, so just to get started, we'll do the same thing. Let's go here. This guy's gonna need convex collider. He's gonna need a hinge joint. And set that guy up. So on the X, which is this way, we can go start playing with the values. 1 looks like it's good. And then on the, let's see, the Z. On the Z, we can go, see, 0.01. That's moving it that way. So 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. 0.4 looks good. So let's drag in for our connected rigid body. We're going to connect this to this arm here. So that's the forearm, or no, that's the base arm. So we'll drag in the base arm. And then we'll make another one down here. So we'll add hinge joint. And on this one, where's the little gizmo at? Ah, there he is. So we'll go 1 on the X. And then on the Z, we'll go 0.56, -1, -2. Where's 2 at? Yeah, -2.23. Is this one on the top too? Yeah, I want it kind of down in the center. So that would be what, the Y? Yeah, that's too far. What was it at? 0.1? So we'll say 0.09. That looks centered. We'll go down here and do this one too, 0.09. Cool. So now we can say we already have the base arm, rigid body, and for the bottom hinge we're going to connect it to this cube, which is this guy right here. So we'll bring him in. If we hit play now, we can already see the start of our excavator. Good, good, good. So now we have this one set up. We could actually duplicate it. And he's just a little too big. And the reason we're using Pro Builder is because we don't want this out of scale. We want it to stay 1, 1, and 1. And by using Pro Builder, we can do that. We can just drag these in. And it'll stay at 1, 1, 1. So let's move this out. Let's rotate him a little bit more. So now our pivots are messed up, you can see. So let's change those on this guy. So on this bottom guy, we want this rigid body to be connected to the base arm. And then on the top, we want it connected to the forearm. So now if we hit play, we should be rigid. And we are. Works out pretty well. So now we're getting into the fun part. Now we're going to get into the scripting part. Let's just add some color to these guys real quick. Alright, let's get into the scripting. Before we get to playing with the code, let's see kind of what we want this guy to do. If we hit play, what we kind of want to do is we want this section here to be pulled in toward this section here. And we don't want our connected anchor to change. So what we can do is go out of play mode. Let's set these to false. That way we're not ever changing them, even if we do any code. So if we hit play, it should still works pretty good. So we want our anchor. Let's see, what was this? The Z? No. Yeah, the Z. Okay, we want it to travel along the Z. So let's say we move this to -2. Yeah, now you can see that it pulled itself in. And if we go to -1, it pulled itself in even farther. But we don't want it that far. We want them we want the two to be, you know, split in half. So let's say we had negative, what was it before? -2, 1. Well, let's restart that because it kind of broke. So -2, 1. So let's say we wanted it to go to -1.8. -1.8. We'll copy that. That way we can do it quickly. So hopefully it won't break. Yeah. And then on this other guy, let's see, what are they? Got 0.25 and let's make it negative 0.25. Hit play. That's not cool. So let's say, I guess we'll keep it at negative 0.21. So this guy goes, let's hit play. So we'll have, this is the top hinge, and this is the bottom hinge. So the bottom hinge, do we want it to get bigger? Yeah, the bottom hinge we want it to get bigger. And the top hinge, we should want it to get smaller. Let's see. Yeah, we want it to get smaller. So knowing this, let's get to coding. So we can say, let's say this is our hydraulic controller. So let's say we need two hinges to play with. So we can say we have a public hinge joint. That's it. And it's going to be called our top hinge. And then we have a public hinge joint. And we'll call this our bottom hinge. Bottom A hinge. Alright. We also need two floats. So we'll say public float. Say top. And then we'll say public float bottom. And these will just change those values that we were playing with earlier. These values here. So there's Z values that we'll be playing with. So we could go in here, say these are going to be the Z. And what did we say? We said the top hinge needs to decrease and the bottom hinge needs to increase. We'll also probably need a min and a max, but we'll have to figure that out by testing, because I don't know exactly how to go about doing that. As you can see before, the physics gets kind of wonky. So we have the top and the bottom. Let's go save. Let's go back into our project and let's drag these hinges in here. So let's collapse the rigid bodies and stuff too, so they're not in the way. Okay, so we have the top hinge and the bottom hinge. So this is going to be our top hinge, and this is going to be our bottom hinge. We need to set these to what they currently are. So we're going to say void start, and at the start we're going to say top equals, and this is going to be the top hinge anchor dot Z, and then we're going to set the bottom the same way. So top hinge dot anchor dot Z. Save. Before we go any farther, let's test this out real quick. And good, it's sitting at what we need it to be, I think, because we set them both to 0.25. No, we didn't. I must have made a mistake. I did. the bottom should be bottom hinge. Alright. So now that we have that, we can go on to our update. We're going to say void update. And then we're going to say if input, and we're going to set some keys up here. So we say key down, and we're going to say this is W. And then we'll say the same thing, but this is going to be S. So for the W, we want it to increase value. And then we can say for S, we want it to decrease the value. So now we can go outside of our update and set these functions up. So we'll say void increase value. And we'll have a void decrease value. Okay, so when we increase value or decrease value, we want the top. So if we want increase value, we want the top plus equals something. And wait a minute. Top needs to decrease, so we need the top to minus equals something, and we need the bottom to plus equals something. And then same for our decrease, but reversed. So we're going to say this is plus equals, if I can find it, and then we'll say this is minus equals. Jeez. There we go. Let's say we need a speed. So we'll say a public float speed. We'll set this to 0.5 for now. And we want this to be speed times time dot delta time. And that should be changing our value. But then we want to do something with the value, so after we either increase it or decrease it, we will do something with it. So we'll say top hinge dot anchor, and it returns a vector 3. So we'll need to just pass in the z of this vector 3. So we'll create a new vector 3, x, y, and z, and the z will be top. And then we'll do the exact same thing with the bottom. So here we can say the bottom hinge dot anchor equals new vector 3 and bottom. And that looks promising, so let's go find out. Collapse these. So let's hit play. And something's not right. Let's hit play. Oh, let's do get key. Because right now it's just doing. I think we can have it sorted out now. Let's see. Yeah. Kind of working how I want it to, but see the anchor position. See what happens. Oh, that's what's happening. So these are not set to 0. So, yeah, okay. So if we go back, we can say top hinge. We say this is top.anchor.x. Wait, top hinge.anchor.x. And then we can say top hinge.anchor.y. And then this will say bottom hinge.anchor.x and bottom hinge.anchor.y. Save. Now it should work. So now let's go back over here and look. Hit play. Aha! So now we have something that looks right. So now let's find our min and our maxes. Our min and max. So we can go here, click on this guy, and let's say, we'll say, now you can kind of see what's happening. I don't know why it's not. There we go. So we'll say this is our max. So we can go here. We'll minimize it. So we're going to say public float max, or let's say top max, and public float top min, and then we'll say public float bottom max and public float bottom min. And then we know that our max for the top is going to be negative 0.092, and the bottom max is going to be, let's go over here, scroll down, it's going to be negative 1.75. F 757. Let's go 3 digits because we did on the other one. So now we need to find the min. So we go back into Unity, and the min we're gonna say is I don't know why it doesn't like to start over, but that's definitely too far. Coof. Yep, too far. So we're gonna say the min is say the min's right there. So the min is gonna be 0.28 and negative 2.3. So we'll say equals 0.28 and negative 2.3 or 2.13. And we can get rid of these. I don't need 3 digits anyway. Hit save. Let's get rid of this note here. So when we're increasing, that's nearing the max. So we'll say if get key W and top is less or equal to top max, and bottom wait a minute. I think we're just gonna have to play with these because the top is decreasing. So if this is greater than equal to top, and the bottom is increasing, so the bottom is less than equal to the bottom max, then we'll do this. So let's say we copy this and see if we got it in the correct order. So this one is going to be if the top is less than equal to top min, and the bottom is greater or equal to the bottom min. And if this doesn't work, we'll just switch around the operators. So let's go back in here and hit play. I think that's going to work. Okay, well, that's about all I got. That kind of shows you how I set up this other project here. And we'll just go back in here and look at it real quick. I'm not going to save that, but I don't know where it is. Let's go to Excavator. There we go. So if you look, the same concept applies. If you open this guy up, we have a base arm, we have a forearm, and we have this base. Well, we have 3 hydraulics here. Each one of them has a different hydraulic controller because they all take different values. So I have a base controller, a forearm controller, and a bucket controller. And then when all these are working together, we have this neat little excavator here. And this one's been fine-tuned, so it's got the correct mass for everything, and I think it works pretty well. Hard to control, but it's fun once you get the hang of it. And this one also has it's just a physics, it's just a torque that's added on the base of it. Makes it fun to play with. But anyway, that's the excavator. Hope you learned something and enjoyed watching. And until next time, please like and subscribe.